Good afternoon, everyone. I am Laura with Husqvarna Viking. I'm an educator, and I am here to introduce you to the Onyx 30, the new machine that just came out. All right, let me switch my camera to the machine. Ta-da! She's a cute little thing. First thing I want to show you, well, you can see the size probably. Here's a water bottle for comparison. She's a smaller machine, but she has a lot of high-end features. We've got the needle up down, we have thread tie off, we have the thread snips, and this is a speed control slider. We have lots of buttons over here. At first glance, it might look like we only have 10 stitches, but we have several menus of stitches. Down here, can't see it. Down here we have a slide out with menus. So there's 3 of them. 1, 2, 3 menus full of different stitches. Up here we see M1. That's menu 1. And then down here, you probably can't see it, but there's a little folder that says M2. There are 75 stitches in menu M2. I'm just going to slide this so you can see the quantity there. Oh, I'm wrong. There's 148 stitches. All these stitches are also M2. And then menu 3, hi Wendy. Menu 3 has a block alphabet, and menu 4 has an outline alphabet. Let me bring this closer, and we will look at a few of those stitches. So let's go to M2. I am going to choose, I like the little scissors. I think it's cute. It's stitch 147. So I push 147, and look, there's the little scissor stitch that it's going to do. All right, let's check out the block alphabet. It has numbers as well. So there is the number 1. Let's look at the letter A. There's the A. Easy, nice, clean stitch. Now, if we go to menu 4, look how it does an outline of the number. Let's go to letter A again for comparison. There. See how that has an outline? So that's going to give you a letter that appears larger. And it's all capital letters on that. And then there's some special characters like with an accent or an umlaut. So we have all those in there too. All right, let's go back to menu 1. There are some more things here. You can program a stitch. If you want to combine the scissor stitch with a thread spool stitch, you can combine that and then save it. This is our stitch width, stitch length. If you're making a sequence, you can delete it. Let's say you accidentally put too many N's in your name, you can delete one or all. Let's see, this here is needle up down, and it corresponds to this icon on the screen. We have this one over here also. So this one is just while you're sewing, you can change it from up to down or down to up. But this one is the one that's permanent. Right now it's in permanent down. This changes it to permanent up, but the needle didn't move. This is the one that makes the needle move. And this is the one that switches the mode. Okay, that's a good start. For now, the next thing we want to do is wind a bobbin. We are going to make, let me put the camera back on me for a moment. Okay, we're making a pencil case today, back to school organization. I know, I'm supposed to do left, right, right to left. This fits in a 3-ring notebook, which of course is out of reach of the camera. but not for long. Just let's see if I can do it backwards. Put it in there. There we go. It's got a zipper. Super organized. But you know, you don't have to put it in a 3-ring binder. You can use it for makeup, art supplies, anything your heart likes to organize.
Laura,
I might have a problem with
it would be a good Laura, it would be a good little travel like project thing. If you do like hand sewing and things like that, it's like a grab and go, a good little grab and go project case too.
You are right. Yeah. Keep all your like if you're doing a sewing project, you could keep all your notions in there for each specific project. Sort out your red zipper and buttons from your purple zipper and buttons. Press your feet for a specific project yarn. Good thinking, Meredith. Okay, I'm gonna switch back to the machine. And let's wind a bobbin. Now, since that project is small, we don't need an entire bobbin. You can see here that I have just wound a little less than half of a bobbin. We don't need a ton of thread on it, but I will show you how to do that. So let's see if we can raise this up a little. There we go. Well, sorry about my fan in the background. Okay. Let's put the thread on. One of the great things about this machine is that it's got markings on it. So here we can see that if we're going to thread the machine, we'll follow the solid line. If we're going to wind a bobbin, we'll follow the dotted line. So let's click this. Oops, let's not start yet. And then the thread comes down. It goes under this little tensioner and around. So it's coming between these layers here. And it needs to click in there. It's a little hard to do one-handed. There we go. Give it a tug, make sure it's in there. And then we put the thread through a little hole from the inside to the outside. And then put it on the winder. Push this over this direction. That engages the bobbin winder. And then I'm going to use the start-stop button. We're going to let this wind a little bit. I didn't let go of the tail until it was kind of pulled down. We don't want the tail to flop over into here. That will cause tangles later on when we're trying to use the machine. I'm just going to wind a little bit. That's good. That's totally plenty. And I'm going to trim this tail just as close to the bobbin as I can get it. All right, and then trim this thread here. Unclick and pull it off. Maybe. There we go. Pull it off firmly. Next, we will put it in the machine. This machine takes, and most machines in the Husqvarna line, the bobbin goes in with the thread tail coming off the left side, so it makes a P. Like perfect. Like you. Like us. Yay. Okay. Let's put that in there. I got this. I should have let it wind a little more. I've got that tail over there. All right. And then up here is a flap. I'm going to try and zoom in a little.
Laura, I love this part of the Onyx 30, having that little guide. So like it's a no thought process when you're threading the bobbin, making sure you get it in the tension. Like this is one of my favorite things about this machine.
That's great. Yeah, it really makes it hassle free so that you don't end up with nesting later.
Exactly.
None of us want a bird nest unless we're building a birdhouse. We don't want it in our sewing. Okay, so we're going to slide the thread under this little guide here. That kind of guides it. It guides it down into the tensioner on the bobbin case. I'm going to put my thumb here and give a little tug just to make sure it's firmly seated. And I'm following this arrow around. There's a little blade here that cuts the tail of the thread off. Yay. And then put my bobbin hatch cover back on. This little tooth goes under this little metal piece right here. It looks, on the screen it looks white. It might look shiny, but it's metal and it goes under there. Oh, let's see if I can do it without my hand blocking the whole thing. Nope, I cannot. So we've got it under here and put that down. All right, zoom out. Exciting. You know, sometimes it's just easier to move the machine. Okay, so we have the bobbin threaded, the bobbin wound. Now we need to thread the machine. Again, starting at the top, I'm going to click the thread into this little guide. Then I'm going to come around back here. Do you see where it says 2 right here? So 1 is through here, 2 is behind and down. Three is down through here. 4 is around. 5 is go back on the right, come around to the left, and then go back down, number 6. This is a thread guide. It might be a little hard to see, but the thread goes behind it. And then there's a thread guide in front of the needle. Same thing, the thread goes behind and hooks into that. Now we have a needle threader, and this is wonderful because some of us, our eyesight doesn't like to thread the needle this way anymore, but this has a little hook on it. So when we press down, pull the thread to the left. When we press down on this lever, there is a hook that catches our thread. It's a two-handed operation here now. We're going to bring the thread across, and it goes in between the little, there's a little gap, some little teeth in there. It goes in between those, and we pull that to the back. There's a tiny hook that has come through the eye of the needle. It will grab your thread, and it will pull it through the eye of the needle. That is a little hard to see with a white thread on the white. I'm going to use some red thread later, and we'll do this again. It will be easier to see. Okay, top thread, bobbin thread. We've got a fresh needle. I believe we are ready to start stitching. So I will provide, if any of you want to do this project, I'll provide the cut list. But I've got a piece of clear vinyl. It is 9.5 by 5.5. I bought this, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say the store name, but the big box store that I bought it at had several different thicknesses of vinyl. I bought the thinnest one, but if I had to do it over again, I'd buy one a little bit thicker. I think a little bit thicker would be a good idea. And then this strip is 10.5 by 1.5, and I've got a 12-inch zipper, which we are going to cut down to size later. I have taken and ironed up a 1/4 inch on each side of this 10.5 by 1.5 inch strip. And then I'm going to take and fold. Well, since it's already ironed, I am sliding the vinyl into that fold. It's a little bit easier to do it laying down. So lay it down there. So we have the vinyl. Man, that clear stuff is hard to see, isn't it? The vinyl is tucked in to the fold. And then I will lay that along the zipper, and we're going to stitch that. So right now we have on the A foot. This is the default foot that it comes with. I'm going to take that off, and I am going to put on the E foot, which is the zipper foot. This you can put on two ways. You can put it on this side, you can put it on the left, or you can put it on the right, depending which side your zipper is positioned. So to start off with, I'm going to put it on the right. My vinyl has already slipped out of my cotton. I think I am going to put a couple clips on here so that I can get everything lined up. Now the cotton is a little longer. Man, you really can't see that. The cotton is a little longer than the vinyl. That's to give us something to anchor to when we start stitching. I will show you in a minute the benefit of that. Okay, so even though my clips are not big enough to include the zipper, that's okay. I am going to start by putting the zipper right here. So this left edge of the zipper foot is going to be right next to the zipper. And then the folded edge that I have the vinyl clipped into is also going to be right next to the zipper, like this. So I will put this in, put my presser foot down, put my needle down. I'm going to take a couple stitches to anchor it. And I am going to raise my presser foot for a minute and just make sure that I'm going to push my fabric right up against the needle. So the next stitch it takes goes into the fabric. Beautiful. Okay, now as I stitch this down, let me see if I can zoom in. As I stitch this down, I'll need to take these clips off or even just move them a little bit. So if you have been sewing forever, you totally know how to do this. But if you're new, this is hopefully shows you that installing a zipper is a lot easier than you might think. When you have the right tools for the job, everything goes smoother. So now I am just going to continue using that zipper foot to guide me as I stitch the cotton and the vinyl to the zipper. Almost there. And I'll take a few stitches off. And now I need to zoom back out and use my thread snips to cut. So my presser foot is down, my needle is down, that's fine. It can be up or down, it doesn't matter. When I press the thread snips, it brings the needle to the right place. Then I can raise my presser foot and pull this out. Look at how even that is from the zipper to the stitch line. That is thanks to the zipper foot. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, now we are going to top stitch here. I'm going to start out with the A foot, which is metal. And then we are going to switch to the H foot, and I will show you why. Vinyl likes to stick to metal. I'm doing, let me show you close. I am using, let's see if we can get it to focus here. You see the center red marking on that foot? And then I feel like we can't see it very well. I need something covered. Here we go. There's a prong right here. I know you can see this big prong, but there's a little prong in here too. I'm going to line up the edge of my fabric with that. That's 1/8 of an inch. It will be a lovely top stitch. Okay, I'm also going to pull a little thread out so it can help me if I need it. Can you see on the needle plate? I just realized. On the needle plate, we have markings. We have metric markings down here and imperial markings up here. So this is like 10 centimeters, 15 centimeters, 20 centimeters. Up here we've got our 3/8, our 5/8, our 7/8. But these markings end, obviously, because they're different. And where the break in the markings is, forms a straight line, and that is your needle line. That's where your needle goes down. So when you are putting your fabric in, if you put your fabric up to that line, your needle will strike fabric when it hits. And we like that. It reduces nesting. Okay, so now I'm going to attempt to stitch this with the A foot. Okay, see how it's sticking a little. It's not going through smoothly. I am going to tie a knot here and cut. I'm going to raise the presser foot and take this one off. I'm going to put the H foot on. This is called the non-stick glide foot. And the back is Teflon. It's super smooth. It is going to glide over that vinyl much, much easier. Okay. I can see my little thread tails here. I know where I ended. I'm going to just back up a couple stitches so I have some overlap. I'm going to put my needle down. Put my presser foot down. I'm going to tie again so that we have no threads popping out later. And stitch right down. There we go. That's a lot smoother. Hang up. It wants to stick to the metal plate too. If it really gives you problems, you can put a piece of lightweight paper under there. You could use we have a product called Stitch and Ditch, and that it's super lightweight, like tissue paper would be. Okay, so this is stitched on here now. Looks good. I am going to trim these threads. This one from the front, these from the back. All right. Now the next, okay, so that was the top stitch. Next, we are going to, let me see if I can switch to my ironing board here. There we go. We are going to, this is the bulk of the bag, and it wraps around. So I have this piece of fabric. I think it's 10.5 by 11 by 11.5. I've pressed 1/4 inch here. And here I have pressed up 1.5 inches and then pressed up another 1.5 inches. I also have a piece of tearaway stabilizer in here for making buttonholes later. That'll make our buttonholes much, much nicer. Okay, so the first thing we'll do with this edge that just has a 1/4 inch pressed up, we're going to stitch that on here. Now, come back to the machine. I showed you on the zipper foot how we can put it on the left or the right. If I put it on the left again, where I had it a few minutes ago, and let's see, I'm trying to wrangle my fabric here. If I put my fabric up there the same way I did before, it's fine, but like the bulk of the fabric is over here. And that's kind of inconvenient. I could put the presser foot on the other side. And pivot this around, and then the bulk of the fabric is off to the left, which allows more room. The vinyl side doesn't hit the tower of the machine, so that's good. And it is also easier to start stitching at the zipper stop rather than the zipper head, because if we tried to, let me move it again. If we tried to do it from this side, we would be fighting with the zipper head right here. And can it be done? Yeah, of course it can be done, but your first few stitches are going to be a little wavy. So if we like precision, we'll just bring this over here. Turn this around. I am just going to put down my presser foot. I'm going to put down my needle. I'm going to take a couple stitches. Oh, too far. Let's go back. There we go. Reverse button, lifesaver. And then I'm going to take my folded edge, push it right up here, all the way to the needle. I'm going to try and make it even with this, with my first piece of fabric. If it's off a little bit, it's not a big deal because we have some wiggle room in here. Our measurements are such that we have grace. We're going to cut off a little bit of it later, so it's fine if it's not exact. And we'll just stitch this down. For those of you who've been sewing for a long time, I would like to issue you a challenge to try sewing from the side of the machine with a camera in front of the machine instead of your body. My apologies for any little wiggles I get in here. There we go. We're at the end. Cut, raise. Beautiful. Okay, next. Oh, I lost my stabilizer. It fell out while I was stitching. That's okay. I'm going to get some clips. I love these things. And we're going to come over here to the ironing area. I'm going to put my stabilizer back in where it goes. And fold this guy down. Oh, I let my iron get. Now, I am going to iron this, but I'm going to be very careful to stay on the top side of the zipper. I am not going to bring my iron down here on the bottom side. Why? Because the vinyl in here goes all the way up to this stitching line. Remember how we tucked it in there? We do not really want to melt this vinyl. So I am going to just iron that, maybe, or at least pretend to. Wait, actually, I forgot. I have to pull this down far enough to make sure the bottom of the vinyl gets caught in the next seam that we sew. That's better. Okay. While I'm waiting for my iron to warm up, you can see that clips aren't going to work. Oh, clips aren't going to work here. They're not big enough. So what do we have to our rescue? Painter's tape. Multi-purpose. This particular tape that I'm using is from Craftzilla. It's great because you can sew through it without your needle getting too sticky, and it removes right off easily. So I'm going to tape this into place and then iron this. Should be good to go by now. Wonderful. And if I wanted extra stability, I could clip up here. Just to help it hang on from shifting too much when I sew. Okay. Now we'll go back to the machine. And I need my A foot. So we'll switch that. So the A foot is an all-purpose foot. It's good for straight stitching. We also have a B foot, which looks similar from the top. So they look similar there. However, there is a difference. The main difference is on the back. So we've got the A foot here. Here's the back. It's just pretty flat. And then the B foot has this wedge cut out of it. This is for decorative stitches. This lets, like, if you were doing a satin stitch, something dense with a lot of stitches, that would let your stitches pass underneath without getting kind of hung up on the foot. So that's why I'm using the A foot, just for these straight stitches. Now, if we wanted, we could use a decorative stitch here instead. In fact, it'd probably be kind of fun, but we could use a decorative stitch here. I'm just going to use a straight stitch because I want room for my buttonholes later without accidentally covering any of that up. So I am going to put this down, put my presser foot down, put my needle down, position my legs around the camera so I can reach my foot pedal, and here we go. Just stitch that right down. Oh, you know what? I should have used my H foot. That's okay. Another thing I like about this light colored painter's tape is I can tell where the edge of my fabric is and line it up well. I tried to do this earlier with the blue, but yeah, there's a reason we're using yellow now. So this is good. I can see my flower print through. Oh, I got off. That's okay. Back it up. Stitch off. Clip my threads. Raise my presser foot. Pull this out. Now we want to take the tape off right away. It will last, like, I don't like to leave my painter's tape on very long because I live in Houston, Texas, and it gets sticky here. I feel like the sooner I take the tape off, the better. So it's nice and perforated. I can just peel that right off. Beautiful. There's a little bit here that I'll go over that later and I'll just pick that later. Okay. The edges are done. Now I need to trim this. But before we trim, what do we have to do? Unzip the zipper partway. Yes. Unzip the zipper partway. I'm also going to move my clips up here. It is a lot easier to use a rotary cutter on this part, but I only have 2 cameras, so we are going to move this out of the way. Oh, we are trimming to the edge of the vinyl. I need to open this some more. Just cut that. real carefully. Same thing on the other side. Cut carefully. I'm using my good fabric scissors for this because they're sharp enough to go through all the layers. But sometimes I wonder if I would have a better choice. All right. So that's all trimmed up and even now. We have a piece of fabric that is, again, 1.5 inches. No, this one's 1 3/4. And I ironed up 1/4 inch on each side, and then I folded it in half. I kind of made my own bias tape. Stitch that on the side here. So when we start, we will fold up. Let's see if I can reduce some glare. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Maybe. Wrong way. Okay. I'm going to fold up and fold in. And at this point, you will need some clips. Fold up and fold in. And then put that around the edge, just like bias tape. But this gives us a clean finished edge here at the bottom. And I can use my clips to hold it in place. And then do that all at the side. And then when you get to the top, we have some extra here, so we'll cut that off. Now, I have applied the first one to this already. So I'm going to apply this one here and cut it to fit, and then we'll be ready to do buttonholes. Okay, I got to zoom out because the whole thing isn't in there. There we go. Okay, so I've got my folded edge over this. I'm going to clip that in place. Make sure this gets tucked in all the way to the fold so that it lays nice later. Now I've used white thread here, but we could have used red, and that would be cute. It would give it a good accent. Okay, I need more clips. Do I have this folded in? All right. If you have plain fabric, you could decorate the back with some of those decorative stitches or the lettering. You could put your student's name on it, or you could put what supplies are in it so that you can see both from the front and the back. All right, now I am going to cut off, I'm going to about 1/2 inch up here. And then I will unfold, fold up about 1/2 inch, and refold that. That's the front. Do the same thing for the back. Fold, fold. Looks good. I need one more clip. Got one in the drawer over here. Plus has a million clips hanging around. Do we have any questions so far? I always forget to ask about questions. But I also kind of assume that Meredith will interrupt me if we do.
Yes, you're doing good. You're doing good, Laura.
Thanks, Meredith, for being a hero.
You're welcome.
Okay, back to the machine we go. Now, we've got quite a few layers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 layers of fabric plus a layer of stabilizer. It might need a little helping hand to start out with, so I'm going to bring my thread tail up so that I have some long tails to hold on to. I can't reach it. It's a tiny thread tail. it's great to have small thread tails because then it keeps it neat on the back and it doesn't waste thread. But if you have a feeling that you might need to do a little pulling, you can just bring that tail up automatically, like we did. Folks my age did that growing up when they first learned to sew, but a new sewer might not have had to do that before. Okay, I'm going to make sure this is nice and even when I start out. All right, I'm going to stick that under there, and I am going to put the needle down and take the clip off, put the presser foot down. Now, you'll see when I start to sew, that's a lot of bulk. So I am going to gather the thread tails with my hand and just gently pull a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. We don't want to break the thread off. And then I can straighten this out. And away we go. I got a little bit of a wrinkle there, so I'm just going to unclip this, flatten it out, clip it back, and I'll double check it again when we get to the end. I could have used my H glide foot here too. It's sticking just a little bit to the vinyl on this side. Alright, this one's wanting to poke out a little bit, so I am going to just fold it a little more, push it back in there, show it who's boss. And we're going over the zipper too. It will actually be just fine. I'm going to back stitch a little bit and tie a knot. Cut my threads, raise my presser foot, pull it out. Okay. I was a little uneven here, but that's fine. Practice makes perfect, right? I'll make another one. I'll send this one to Meredith. Just kidding.
I love it. It makes it original too.
I think it's pretty cute. I like this fabric.
I really like that fabric too. I like that pink and that red, and then like with the tealy blue would be really pretty too.
Yeah. Someone gifted me this fabric, and I thought, oh well, I'll make a gift out of it for them. So, but there's enough to make like 5 pencil cases. So this is fun. Okay. All that's left is to make the buttonholes. Now, let me switch over here. And where did my binder go? There we go. We are going to mark the center of our marking the center is easy, right? You fold it in half, you find where the center is. And I'm just going to make a little mark, about 1/2 inch in. That's great. Now, we need to measure our binder holes. So, from this one to this one looks like just over 4 1/4. It's probably 4 5/8. So let's do about 4 5/8. Okay, that is going to put the buttonhole right on our binding. Maybe I should have made this an inch bigger. Let me see here. Okay, it's right on the inside. So we'll just put a dot here and a dot here. I am going to use an embroidery thread to do the buttonholes so that it's decorative, so that it pops out. And then I have the buttonhole foot here. I am going to, when we get to the machine, I'm going to show you a little more how to do that. But first, let's switch the thread on the machine. Actually, I think I'll put some of this red on a bobbin as well. We'll show you the threading one more time, just in case you didn't memorize it in 10 seconds. But it looks pretty good to have buttonholes that are the same color on both sides. Let's see. Can we back up here? Yes, but not as much as I would like. All right. I'm sure you can all handle putting the thread on the spool pin without me. I believe in you. You got this. All right, then we're going to click the thread into here. And come down between the two metal pieces and wrap it around. Give it a tug so you know that it's in there. Put the thread in the bobbin by going through the hole from the inside to the outside. Then place it on the spindle. Push to the right to engage it. Press the start-stop button and it will start winding. Oops, I didn't hold on to my thread tail heart firmly enough. I'm sure none of you have ever done that, right? Sure.
I'll have a little panic attack and I'll be like, oh no, and then I gotta stop the bobbin really quickly too because it's still going.
Yeah. There we go. That is plenty. Trim. Disengage. Remove this thread. Put the red in. Oh. Okay, so I've got two threads hanging off, and because I took it from this way, I know this is the one that I was holding through the button or through the hole. I'm just going to trim it. What I would want to do next time is make sure that I have the thread that's winding really needs to cover that tail before I let go and trim it off. That is user error, not machine error, but we live for it, right? Okay, trim that thread, move this out of the way. Now, to thread the machine. It will be so much easier to see this needle threader with the red. Once again, thread goes under here. I always thought I had teeny hands till I started putting them on camera. Okay, and then behind the guide, down through the tensioner, up on the right, around back, down on the left, thread guide here, thread guide by the needle. Now, let's see if we can really, the thread is too loose. Okay, I'm going to try it again while not holding the machine up with one hand. I didn't get it clicked in somewhere enough. There we go. It should be a little, even with the presser foot up, you should feel some tension on the thread. It should not be loosey-goosey. Okay, there we go. All right, now let's see if we can zoom in some so that you can really see this needle threader in action. Right, I'm going to press down on the lever. You see the hook here? Your thread should go under that hook. I'm letting the camera adjust. I think you can see the thread now. As we push down, this hook swings forward and it puts a tiny hook through the eye of the needle. You probably can't see it. I know that I can't. And then, so we had our thread over here on the left. We are leaving it in this hook and swinging the thread tail to the right to go between these two hooks here that came down. And this embroidery thread is slippery. Okay, so I've got my thread back here. I'm holding it taut, but I'm not pulling on it. It needs to have enough maneuverability that now we can see this hook has the red thread caught on it. It's pulling it back. Can you? Man, I wish I had something black back here. You can see right here and here, there's a loop of red thread in the back. Now you can see it being pulled upwards here. Okay, so this thread is still caught on the hook that came through the eye of the needle. Some folks' instinct is to now pull on this tail out the front, but that's wrong. It will unthread your needle. What we want to do is grab this loop and pull the thread through. I'm trying to see if I can block some of the light from so we can see the tail coming through. Well, you can see it moving here a little bit. There we go. I'm going to pull this over. Here's our thread tail through the back of the needle. All right, that is a lot of thread. Okay, now we need to put on our buttonhole foot. Let me zoom back out. This guy, when it comes new, it's all closed up like this. This little lever here, we push it this direction to open it. So this is opening here. And this is where we put our button. That tells the machine how big to make our buttonhole. Since this is for a 3-ring binder, it doesn't need to be very big. It just needs to be open. I am going to just use an empty bobbin as a spacer. And then we can push this down to hold it in place. When we put the buttonhole foot on the machine, there's a lever back here, and I'll show you. There's a lever back here that comes down, and it goes in between these two plastic tabs. That is what tells the machine that it has gone far enough, and it needs to turn around and come back and make the other side of the buttonhole. It is pretty cool. So let me take the A foot off and put the buttonhole foot on. Again, it just snaps on like your other feet. There's a little bar right here. That's where it snaps on. So the buttonhole part is behind the presser foot. So we'll lift this up and just snap it on. Now, the lever that we need, we've got our needle threader here, and then behind it, this one here, that is the button lever. You can see there's a little icon of a buttonhole on it and an up down. We're just pushing it all the way down. And it comes and sits at that first tab. It will sew backwards until it gets to the second tab, and then it will turn around and come back. So let's try that. How about we not smush my fingers while we're doing it? Okay. And this is the buttonhole stitch, 0. You can see now on the menu, it has the buttonhole preview up there. It has automatically set our stitch width and our stitch length. We can adjust that if we want to, but for what we're doing today, the default is perfectly fine. When we start stitching, we need to remember that it's going to start at the bottom. It's going to stitch backwards. So our dots are all about 1/2 inch away from the edge of the fabric, and we are going to try and line that up. I need to see that dot in the little hole in the presser foot here. I'm going to use this as a pointer. So here's the hole in the presser foot. I am going to push this back until I find, there it is, that little black dot. I seriously doubt that you can see that, but I mean, I can barely see it. Just put that there. And then all I need to do is touch start stop and it will do the rest. Nope, I need to put the presser foot down and then touch start stop and it will do the rest. Stitches backwards and then it's getting hung up. What's going on? My thread. Here we go. Here's a good troubleshooting. My thread. I have the thread. I have the spool pin cap on. And since this thread is slippery, can you see right here, the thread was sliding off of the spool and wrapping around the spool pin. No bueno. So I'm just going to leave the thread cap off. I am debating whether or not to keep going with this buttonhole or if I should just start again. I think I'm just going to start again. I'm going to touch the cut.
I would start again too, Laura. That would be mine.
And I've got a little thread nest here where I accidentally cut too much. All right. But easily taken care of because this is so easy to remove. Thank goodness. And now I'm going to thread the speedy way instead of showing you again because we are almost out of time. I can't believe how fast this has gone. This is great. So as you can see, with practice, you can thread the needle a lot quicker. That is too much thread. And since this buttonhole has a satin element to it, I am not going to completely remove all the stitching. I still have a little line there. That's fine. It will just get zigzagged over. Oh, you know what? It gets zigzagged over if I put it right back in the exact same spot. Who wants to take a bet if I can get it right back in the exact same spot? I don't think the odds are real good. But we're going to go with it. Okay, where is my dot? There it is. I need to remember to pull down my buttonhole lever. And I'm just going to select the buttonhole again to make sure it starts from the beginning. And then put my presser foot down. And away we go. Hey, doesn't that sound better? Magic, right? Okay, now it's doing the zigzag part. And then it will do the back bar tack. Well, not. Okay, so it's doing a straight stitch forward, doing the front bar tack, and then zigzagging the satin column back, and then it will do the back bar tack. That's pretty good. That looks good. Okay, it stops with the needle down. We can just touch these thread snips. It will cut the threads, raise the needle, and that looks great. I was off by like 2 stitches here, but it doesn't really show. Now I can just take my seam ripper and open that up. Let me look at the time. Okay, it's 3 o'clock on the nose, so I will do the other 2 buttonholes after we say adieu. Let me switch back to the camera on me. Cheese. All right. So we have our little finished, almost finished. I just need to add 2 more buttonholes and then it'll be done. Does anyone have any questions? And if you think of questions later, you can put them in the chat. I will respond a couple hours from now.
I think you're good, Laura.
Nothing so far. Okay.
No.
Do we have any upcoming Facebook Lives to?
Yes. So we have 4 more of our Creative 8 summer digitizing camps coming up. And so the next one is going to be July 8th and July 15th. And those are going to be with Janie Lance. She's going to be doing PC and Mac on one of each of those days. And that's going to be creating logos. And then Kathy Fromm is going to be doing our next Husqvarna Viking Live, and that's going to be Christmas in July, and she's going to be doing things on a serger and a sewing machine. I'm really excited about this. It's a really cute project.
Okay, great. Those two ladies are both really good educators. You guys are going to get a lot out of those Facebook Lives. I hope you have a wonderful Independence weekend, and happy stitching.